Hey, Johnny, it's 9 o'clock tonight, right?
Uh, as far as I know, yeah,
That's what Mario posted. Okay.
yeah, yeah. He has a. I just finished yesterday, so
Oh,
he said he had a dinner or something tonight, a business dinner.
okay. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, good. We're good. Okay.
Hello, boys.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
We're in Ayin Gimel. Is that right?
Ayin Gimel.
Yeah.
Okay.
73. Don't tell me that the reason Rav requires a get, we're talking about where there was Kiddushim al Tnai, there were certain conditions made in the Kiddushin. But when he took her under the chuppah, nothing was mentioned. And these conditions were not repeated. Don't tell me that Rav says that the initial Kiddushin was good, and that's why he needs a get, because he was moichel on the Tnoim completely, and therefore you would say that he would also have to pay the ksuba if he divorced her. Elatima shel Rav, lefi shein adam oisa bilosa bilaznu. It's a different reason. Since if the Kiddushin is misbatel, it makes the fact that he lived with his wife a bilaznus, so he doesn't want that. So really, he wants the be'ilah to be l'shem kiddushin, but he's not moichel on the time. And for example, that she didn't have any mum, and if it turns out that she had a mum, she would go out without a ksuba. Now, if that's the case, hapliga b'chad zimna. Rav and Shmuel already argued once before regarding this. The Idmar. Ketana shalomiyana. You have a ketana whose father died, and the mother or brothers married her off. So we know that kiddushin is only drabbana. And if she does miyun before she's a bogeres, before she's actually 12 years old, a gadol, she goes out of the marriage. However, she didn't do miyun, vigdila, and then she became a gadol. And on the Venices, and then let's say 6 months later, she married somebody else. Rav Amar ein tzricha get misheni. The second kiddush is not chal. Since she didn't do miyun to the first husband, and she continued to live with him as an adult, it's as if they now got married. The first time that he had relations with her as a gedola, the bia was l'shem kiddushin, and therefore she's a married woman. Therefore, the kiddushin that she got from the second person is not a kiddushin, and therefore doesn't need a get. Shmuel Amar tzricha get misheni, because the first husband, when he had relations with her when she became a gadol, it wasn't for new kiddushin. He was just continuing the relationship he had with her since she was 8 years old. And therefore, there is no chalois of nesuin with the first husband. Therefore, when the new husband gave her kiddushin, she would require a get. So the Gemara says, stricha, we need this machlokas Rav and Shmuel in both cases. The itmar behahi. If I only been told this machlokas by the ketana who didn't do miyun, behahi kama Rav mishum deleka tnoi. There were no conditions in the kiddushin. So therefore, when she became a gadol and he had relations with her, it was als kiddushin. The original kiddushin, which are not toifus necessarily. But in the case of Bahadik Etnoi, but in a case where they're Tnoim in the Kiddushin, maybe he didn't do the Be'il Shem Kiddushin, he doesn't need a get. V'iyat Marbaha, and if the Machlokas was regarding the Kiddushin with Tnoim, Baha Komer Shmuel, that the Kiddushin is not Chal when he has relations with her, because the word Tnoim, Aval Bahach, But in the case of the Ketana that didn't do me, name a moidli Rav. Okay, so tzricha, we need the machlokas in both cases. So let's bring rayas. Tanat. Consistam v'nitzul nedarim. We learn in the Mishnah that he did nisuin without reiterating the various conditions. And maybe the original kiddushin had a t'nai that she would not make nedarim. And then he married her under chuppah. It turns out that she made nedarim. So din is teitzei shelo b'ksuva. She gets divorced. So there was chalois in the kiddushin. She needs a divorce, but no ksuba. Ksuba hu de lo boy, right? Hagit the boy. My love, shekitzat nai b'konsistam. And this must be a case that the kiddushin was done al t'nai and the nesuin not. And this is like Rav against Shmuel. Tiyuf to the Shmuel. No, it's not a case of kiddushin with tnoim and konsistam, but rather kitchestam and konsistam. There were no conditions made here. So then what? Im kitchal tnai v'konsistam. If there was kiddushin with tnoim and he did not reiterate it when he did chuppah, achinamid lo boy gita, is he's not going to require a get because we're going to say that the initial kiddushin was betos. Adatani, why would we wait in the Mishnah to say the case where the woman was given kiddushin on condition she doesn't have nedarim. So listening, why don't mention the first case, which is a bigger chiddush, that the kiddushin was done al t'nai. The konsistam v'nim tzoleh nedarim enim mekudeshes. And there we would certainly say kol shekain, that there was only kiddushin al t'nai v'lo konsa, that there would be mekach tos. So the Gemara says ein chanami kamar. That's exactly how we're going to learn. Amekadesh is aisha. Amanash ein aleh nedarim. Woman was given kiddushin on the condition she was not someone who makes nedarim. The konsistam, and he took her under chuppah. However, in kitchestam and konsistam, if there was regular kiddushin, regular chuppah without tnoim, teitzei shelo b'ksuba, she would go out without a ksuba. So ksuba hu de lo boy, hagita boy, but it would require a get. Umayshna ksuba de lo boy. Why no ksuba? To Omar. Ef she be shenadron is because the husband can say, I don't want to live with a woman who makes nedarim. Yachi get namilot to boy. So if he's makbid, so the kiddushin was betos because she was a nadronis. So in fact, when it says tzricha get, it's only midivreim. Minat Torah don't need a get. Mikra din the kiddushin were mizbatel. But since he didn't state the tnoim b'mefurish, you need to give her a get. V'chein Rav Chizda tzricha get midivreim. Rava gives a different teretz. Why you need a get, but she doesn't get the ksuba. Really, Tana Sfukim Misafkalei. The Tana was in doubt. What is the din of this kiddushin? So Gabi Mamona, when it comes to money, we don't take money out of the man because Amotz Bechaver Lavarai, we don't have a clear raya. So he doesn't have to pay the ksuba. But Gabi Isura, regarding the she's an Esash, we go l'chumra and we require a get because we don't want her to be an Esash getting married to other people. Amar Rabba. The machlokas between Rav and Shmuel is betosh de noshim. We're talking about a man who married one woman on the condition that she doesn't have the dorim. Then he married another woman and didn't make any statements. Now, Rav and Shmuel can argue. He learned from the fact that he made it tonight with the first woman. It proves to us that he's makpid regarding the second woman, to the point that you were mevatel the kiddushin, if we see that the Tanoim are not miskayim. That's where the machlokas Rav and Shmuel is, but two women. That means there's a Tanai that he announces before Kiddushin, that I'm giving her Kiddushin on the fact that she has never made a neder. And then he married her. And it turns out that she has Nedorim. So Divrei HaKol Tzrichei Menu Get. So everybody would hold that you require a get. It's only machloikas with two women. Amalei Abayva Masnisin Tosi Shachasi. Our Mishnah has mentioned another woman. The Komisvina Tiyufta Bine. And we brought our Mishnah as a Kasha on Shmuel. So it seems that Rav and Shmuel are arguing even in one woman. Ella Yitmar Achi Yitmar. I'll give you another teretz. Amar Rabba Machlokas Betos Isha Achas Ke'ein Shtei Noshim. The Machlokas Rav and Shmuel is by women, one woman which is like two women. For example, he gave a woman Kiddushin al Tanai that she was not a Nadronis. And then he divorced her. And then he married her again. When he married her again the second time, he didn't mention the Tanai. So there Rav and Shmuel argue. Do we say that the second Kiddushin is as if he was Mavatal the various conditions that he made originally? Or maybe the second Kiddushin is al das the original Tanai. Aval betos Isha Achas greatest, but a regular Isha Achas, where he went to her and it was Makadosh al Tanai that she doesn't have Nedorim, and he married her. And we find out that she's a Nadronis, Divra calling the Tzrichim again. Everybody would say that it's a Mekach Tos and he doesn't require again. Eisvi Abaya. Kitche Betos. So he made a mistake by the Kiddushin. Or, right, Upochos Mishava Pruta. Or he gave her less than Shava Pruta. Or, Chen Cotton Shekidesh. A cotton gives Kiddushin, which doesn't work. So, Aval Bisha Sholach Sivlon Slachar Cain, even though he sent presents to the Kala afterwards, and after she became an adult, Eina Mekudeshes. Shebach was Kiddush Rabishonim Sholach. It was based on the original Kiddush. And the original Kiddush was either Betos, or less than Shava Pruta, or done when he was a cotton. Now, the Imbalu, if he lived with her after the Kiddushin, so he acquires them as wives. So he must have had kavana. He knew that the original Kiddushin was not good, the kinyan wasn't good, and he was having in mind that the bia should be the kinyan. No, even if he had relations, he doesn't acquire. Must be that the beila was done according to Rav Shimon Bar Yehuda al das the original Kiddushin. Since the original Kiddushin was not adequate, there's no kinyan. And now comes the Gemara's proof. The Tosi Shachasi. We're only talking about one woman. That he was Makadish Betos. Yet upligi. Yet they argue. And my love, and our understanding is, what do we mean when we say Kitsha Betos? It means toast in the Dorim. He made a mistake thinking that she didn't have any Nedorim, but she did. So the Gemara says low. The toast was Pachos B'Shava Pruta. So the Gemara says Pachos B'Shava Pruta Badek Tani. Kitcha B'Tos of Pachos Pruta is already a special case of Pachos B'Shava Pruta. So the Gemara says the Mishnah is in the structure of Perusha Kamafarish. Kitcha B'Tos Kates. What do we mean in the Mishnah? When we say Kitcha B'Tos, Kagon Shekitcha B'Pachos B'Shava Pruta. And certainly if he lived with her afterwards, he didn't have in mind such Kiddushin. So then, by kamiflagi. So what in fact is the point of the machlokas? Marasav, the Tanakaba holds, Adam Yoder Shein Kiddushin Toshin B'Pachos B'Shava Pruta. Regular people know that there's no chalois in Kiddushin less than Shava Pruta. So therefore, if he lived with her afterwards, Gomer Ubal L'Shem Kiddushin. When he lived with her, he had in mind that this should be L'Shem Kiddushin. And therefore the kinyan's a good kinyan. That's not common knowledge. And when he lived with her, he had in mind the first Kiddushin, and therefore would not be a good Kiddushin, because the first Kiddushin was Pachos B'Shava Pruta. So, Eisvei Abaya. let's say he says to a woman at the time of Kiddushin, Hareini bo alaycha menashe yirtze abba. I will live with you on the condition that my father is happy with that. And then he brought her under the chuppah without saying any tanai. Now, even we asked the father, and the father didn't want, the be'ilah that he had when he was kohen is mekudeshes. It's totally in the tanai. If the father wants it, fine. If not, not fine. Again, this is an example of one woman. There's no two women here. It's one woman.
Ernie.
Yes.
How old is the son here that he has to get permission from the father?
No, he didn't ask for permission. He made a t'nai. Like when he said, here's Kiddushin al Manas that you don't have Nadorim. Here he made a Kiddushin that my father's going to be happy with it. It has nothing to do with age. It was just a t'nai that he made in the Kiddushin.
Uh-huh.
So, and so do we say, so according to the Tanakama, it makes no difference whether the father likes it or not. The be'ilah that he did when he was Kona Stam is what he relied on. And Rabbi Yehuda says, no, we rely on the original Kiddushin, and therefore we go back to the Tanai. If the father's happy, he's Mekudeshes. If the father's not happy, ain't a Mekudeshes. But the Gemara's kasha here is, we said, by tos isha achas, everybody agrees. No, here's also a case of tos isha achas upligi, and they're still arguing. So the Gemara says, Hasan b'haka miflagi, they're arguing something else. The Tanakama holds Mar Savish al Menashe Yirtza'av means al Menashe Yishtakav. As long as the father doesn't protest, the Kiddushin should be chal. V'hashasikle. And he was quiet. So therefore the Kiddushin was toifus, and there's the Kiddushin. But Mar Sava, Reb Shimon Bar Yudah holds, al Menashe Yomru Abahain. It wasn't just enough that the father didn't protest. He wanted the father to say yes. V'halo amar abahain. So the machlokes says, how do you understand his silence? Is his silence approval, or is his silence being opposite? So, Eisve, Abai asks another question to Rava. Moidim chacham Rabbi Eliezer biktana sheisi aviv in his karsha. The father married her off, so that's normal kiddushin. But then she got divorced from her husband. So now he is b'yisoma v'chayav. That's considered an orphan while the father's alive, because if after the father marries her off, the husband divorces her, he has no right to marry her off anymore. So she's called yisoma v'chayav. Now while she's a ketana, echzira, the original husband who divorced her takes her back. And then the husband dies, and they didn't have children. So the din is choletzes philomis yabemes. So the brother of the guy who died doesn't do yibum, does chlitza. But nesha gershua, gerushin gemurim. You cannot give chlitza to your brother's grusha. And the Gemara is saying this was mamish full gerushin. Because a father's allowed to accept a get from her husband, it's a full get, because the kiddushin is full midaraisa, and the yavim can't give her yibum because she's grusha achiv. So the divorce is good, but chazara gemura, but the ain chazara gemura. A father can marry off a ketana with good kiddushin. But a regular man can't give a ketana kiddushin. The father doesn't have reshus in it anymore, and therefore, when the Baal married her, that's kiddushin of a ketana. It's not full nesuin gemurim. So the gerushin is full, but the marriage was not full. So that's why there's no yibum full. Yibum is only if they were fully married. Since they're not fully married, there's no Yibum. All of the divorce and the remarriage happened when she was a ketana. Aval girsha kshiktana. If the husband divorced her when she was a ketana, but now the husband remarried her when she was 13, or he remarried her when she was 11, but they lived together until she's an adult. So then, these are good nesuin, and it's a regular nesua. Therefore, if he dies, so then you have a right to do yibum or chlitza. Okay, we'll stop here. Tomorrow we will learn the daf at 9 o'clock. I can't teach it at 7:30 because I also have a crazy week this week, another meeting, but I should be back by 9 o'clock. If I have a problem, time-wise, I'll let everybody know by text.
Okay.
We'll learn on Friday, probably in the afternoon, like 4:30, something like that. Shabbos, we'll learn, in shul before
Right.
midnight.
Shkoyach, Ernie.
Later.
Take care.
Shkoyach, everybody.